Hello and welcome back to the Outriders gaming channel. I'm Nick and this is my report for my Game 5 from the South Coast GT 2012, and I'm playing Andy and his Warriors of Chaos. So let's go straight into his list and his deployment. On his far right, so on my left, he has a unit of unmarked knights, 2 chariots, again unmarked, Behind them, a unit of dogs. Don't ask me why there's a unit of dogs behind his lines, I'm not entirely sure. A big block of frenzied marauders with his BSB in it, and here's the interesting part from his list. He has the special character Festus in there on my left of the block, so on the right. So Festus is a hero level special character from the Warriors of Chaos book. He's a Magic level 2 caster from Nurgle. He has regeneration and poison attacks, and he gives whichever unit he joins a 5-up regen and poison attacks. He always knows the spell Curse of the Leper, which is -1 strength, -1 toughness on a unit. It's remain in play, and if you don't dispel it, you get -1 strength, -1 toughness in every one of his magic phases, and if you hit 0, your unit dies. So kind of nasty. Also, any unit he's in, he only pursues 1d6, but if he does catch you, he gets double the VPs. So I didn't quite know what to make of this guy, but yeah, we'll see. In the centre of the board, he has a smallish unit of unmarked Chaos Marauders with a level 4 on Cinch in there and a level 2 with Death, I believe. Next to that he has a Cincian War Shrine. God, I hate those things. Another big block of Frenzied Marauders, and on his far right a unit of Chaos Knights. My deployment, on my far left I have 2 small units of Glade Guard. Behind them is one of my tree men. The idea here is if I push up, I have the option of it gave me options here basically. I could either push up, get the tree man through and into his face, or keep the tree man behind them, the 2 units of Glade Guard, and then if he charges me I can flee, and then suddenly he's facing a big angry psychopathic tree. So just giving myself options there. Next to that, my big flaming unit of Glade Guard with my BSB and my mage. Now, I know I said I was going to try not to do this, having the BSB and the mage in the same unit, but in my defence, that means the BSB is in range of a shed load of my units, and so is the general. And the general is there so that I have the option of trying to cast dwellers on him if I move up 5. Next to that unit I have my second tree man, again in the centre to just try and get him where he needs to be. A unit of Dryads in that very lovely wood. Now at this tournament we were all supposed to bring 4 pieces of terrain. Now mine weren't exactly exceptional, but representing your wood with a piece of paper and a couple of trees is a bit annoying, a bit cheeky. Behind them is my unit of Treekin, again to be kind of a react to if he pushes on the right or to the left. I wasn't quite sure where I wanted them. So they're there, so I can push up if needs be. Basically, with that amount of marauders, I want him to come to me. Even at long range, I'm going to decimate his unit, so I'm perfectly happy to reshuffle a bit my first couple of turns whilst he tries to get to my battle line. And on my far right, I have a unit of Dryads there. Basically, they're the sacrificial redirect unit, and a unit of Glade Guard, which I have renamed Sacrificial Redirect Unit number 2. Yeah, I know. Innovative stuff. So I get first turn again, which is lovely, and I push up. So what I do is I decide, I reckon the tree man can take on a small unit of knights by himself, and I reckon that on the right of this picture, the other tree man can take on whatever's there, and then I can get the Treekin in. Balls out. I need points at this point. I'm not that high, I'm just above mid-tables. I really need to get some points, and I reckon I can get them from this list if I play a bit more aggressively. Without, so basically I want to shoot with him as well, so Strangle Root against Marauders is doing really well, so I need to get him up there. And on my right, I move the Dryads along to make way for the Treekin. I have more than enough time to get a unit of Dryad back in the woods, and I want them there basically to anchor my flank around because they are stubborn in woods. And other enemies lose steadfast, so it would be stupid not to do that. Yeah, so after my shooting phase, my magic doesn't really do much this turn. I don't get enough dice really to power a dwellers off on any of his units, or if I do, he either scrolls it or just dispels it. So there's a little spoiler alert for you there, guys. Don't expect anything too much from my magic phase, at least in the offensive sense. But after shooting from 3 units of Glade Guard at long range, I've pretty much halved his unit of Marauders, which is nice. So, here's turn 1. He pushes up a bit cagily with his stuff. He basically doesn't want to give me the free charge from my tree man into his knights, because that would be silly. Good play from him, because otherwise the tree man charging him, if I can buff him up, he's unlikely to do that many wounds. I might nick a wound off him. He's not within range of his general, so he's on an 8 with a reroll. But, these things happen, so quite well played from him not giving me those. His War Shrine goes into that bit of difficult terrain in the middle there. His War Shrine doesn't really buff much this game. He doesn't get the 4-up ward ever. The odd +1 leadership is knocking about. I think he gets 3 the eyes closed result, so bit of bad luck with him from his War Shrine, but I don't have much sympathy because I hate the damn things. And yeah, again on his right, just pushes up with his knight. He was out of charge range with everything, so just pushes up. So in my turn, again I push the Treekin up in the far right of this picture to react to anything. Neither of my treemen charged, because I realised quite early on that treemen, even if you only need a 4 on the 2 dice for your charge, they just trip over their own feet the whole time. So I just push them up in order to get a Strangle Root off against the knights and against the Marauders. You never know, might get lucky. And on the right, my unit of Glade Guard is turning to shoot at those Marauders, bring a few more shots to bear, and again just basically just not giving him any easy charges here. No point sacrificing a unit of Dryads yet, really. So just playing very cagey, giving myself as many turns as possible, keeping those knights away from my main battle line on the left. So there we go. So after my shooting, it looks like this. I didn't quite kill off as many Marauders as I wanted, which was fairly annoying, but I did manage to get rid of a knight in fairly fluky fashion. So here we go. So this is what's staring down. So in his turn, he tries to charge the Dryads with the knights. No, he tries to charge the Glade Guard with the knights. I flee. He redirects into the Dryads and doesn't make it, so he's kind of stranded out there. What he does do is he charges the knights and the chariot into that tree man on the far left, and as you can see in the centre, so this picture is taken mid-deployment. Yeah, my pictures in this game are fairly erratic, so we might be skipping a couple of phases at times. So he's redeploying his what's left of his Marauders, really. Doesn't charge into my tree man because that would be a suicidal charge at this point, and he does move up his dogs to protect his Marauders. You can see the second chariot you can't see in this picture. It's because it has charged the flank of my Treekin. So this picture is taken at the end of this phase. So, and I think his marauders on the far right there have failed a charge against my Treekin as well. He's failed quite a few charges in this game. So this is taken at the end of his phase. As you can see on the combat on the left, he's done a couple of wounds to my tree man, but I was just passing 5 armour saves left, right and centre here. And I managed to nick another knight off. His chariot doesn't do anything to my Treekin, despite the fact that in his magic phase he had cast Curse of the Leper on them. But he got a bit unlucky. I got lucky with my armours and my wards. Again, my tree spirits were pretty heroic in this game. And he had charged the flank of my tree man with his war shrine. We didn't do anything, and my tree man just reforms to face him. Again, I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler alert here. That combat between the war shrine and the tree man is effing boring. It goes nowhere. The war shrine goes first. I've done no wounds on you. The tree man goes, I've done one. Oh wait, no, you've got a 3-up ward. And so on, and so forth, and so forth, and so on. Dull as anything. And as you can see, oh no, this must be at the start of my, at the end of my movement phase. Sorry, I said we miss a couple of phases in this game. So that unit of Gladegar, which I fled from his charging units on the right, has continued to flee, but they're now within BSB range, so that's fine. And I've basically moved up all my shooting to try and get rid of his last marauders in that unit to try and get some points. And on the right, which you can't see, unfortunately didn't take a picture, is I've moved the sacrificial unit of dryads in to redirect his knights. So after my shooting, boom, I have taken away all that unit. I've killed Festus, and his BSB is left on 1 wound. Oh, and I had to kill the unit of dogs. I had to get through the unit of dogs first. Kind of annoyed I didn't get BSB, but, you know, that was a pretty good shooting phase. And yeah, again, magic didn't really do anything. So in the combat phase, my tree can get rid of his chariot now that they are back to strength 5, toughness 5, because I completely forgot to dispel Curse of the Leper. Not going to say it was tactical or anything in my path. No, I forgot. But luckily, because I killed Festus, that spell just peters out. I don't have to worry about it anymore by the time this combat gets resolved. And again, I was a bit stupid here. I basically didn't think that the Treekin would kill his chariot this turn, in 1 turn, and so I resolved the tree man and War Shrine Boarfest first, which meant that, you know, I missed out on a double on getting the Treekin into that fight, and maybe, just maybe, nudging it my way with the bucket load of attacks they produce. And on the left, that combat just keeps grinding out. It's helped by the fact that I'm able to cast, you know, I'm not powering a big magic phase, but I'm able to get a couple of spells off, so Flesh of Stone is off in this case, and also the fact that his BSB is still there, but he's still fluffing the odd fear check.